Hey, everybody, welcome back to Dogmatic Opinions. This is Nick, Hunter, and JJ. We're on episode 6 here today. Today, we're going to be covering NFL's top 10 wide receivers voted by coaches, execs, and players for the 2022-2023 season. I'm going to run through this list here. Right off the jump, we've got Davante Adams, no longer a Packer, and is with the Las Vegas Raiders. Nick, what's your opinion on this number one?
Yeah. So similar to the last list, me looking at this and making a top 10, yes, it's going into this season, but you're more looking at, how good are they just naturally taking away the variables, how good of a receiver are they? And that's normally based on their previous body of work. So not as much potential there. Right out of the gate, yeah. So this, I agree with it right away. So I also listed Davante Adams as my number one receiver. Do I think that his numbers may go down or have a better chance of going down now that he's with Derek Carr, not Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think his fantasy value is as high, but like if we're talking about who's the best receiver in the league, we're talking route running, we're talking hands, we're talking durability. It's Davante Adams. So yeah, I got him number one.
I would agree. First of all, let's preface last episode, guys. I know there's a lot of people crapping on me. I get it, but remember, this is dogmatic opinions. Opinion at the end, my opinion, how I think it's going to go. Facts to prove it. I think there were good facts that I spat there, but I understand everybody may not agree. We'd love to hear your y'all's top 10, but I'm in agreement. Davante, dude's a solid number one. No more explanation is needed there because he is the best.
Yep. Yeah, I would definitely agree. There's nothing more that needs to be said. He is what he is. He's a monster. This one might be a little controversial for Nick for number two. Wasn't the biggest Cooper Kupp guy last year. I think his mind has swayed it a little bit, but not for a number two spot. But Hunter, what do you have for number two?
So this is going to be a little shot in the dark here. I'm going DeAndre Hopkins. As much as we know that he's suspended for the next, the 6 games coming into this season, been a powerhouse, and at the Texans, and came to Arizona. Wasn't as productive, but I think didn't help having, the newer Kyler Murray there. But anytime he has the balls in his hand, he makes a play. And overall, just previous past everything, up there with Davante Adams on everything he's done, and that's why I have him at number two.
Yeah. So the reason that I don't have DeAndre Hopkins up there, because again, 3 years ago, man, I was so
Correct.
high on DeAndre Hopkins because it didn't matter who was throwing to him, he was always putting up numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I don't have him up there is because he has dropped off. Because now we've seen him more than one season, and he has dropped off a little bit. Not only, I'm not even just talking stats, but even like the eye test. And not to say that it's all him, it's just the system that he's in, but yeah, I don't have him number two. It's funny that JJ said not the biggest Cooper Kupp fan because I do have Cooper Kupp number two.
Whoa.
Is hard to argue with the year he had last year. Again, I'll definitely give some credit to the system, the Sean McVay system that he was in, but man, it's kind of hard to argue with that production. What do you have, like 122 catches, if I'm not mistaken? Led all receivers in catches, yards, I think touchdowns as well, if I'm not mistaken there. But yeah, kind of hard to argue with that production. It's not that he's been bad seasons prior to that, but he took it to another level this year. So factoring in last year as well as the rest of the body of work, I've got him number two here. But there's definitely, I'll say this list was way harder to do than the QB list.
Yes.
This one, any one of these dudes there were 25 receivers that I wanted to put somewhere in the top 10, almost something like that. So yeah, it was tough, but I'm going to go Cooper Kupp number two.
All right. Better than I thought you were going to place him at. Coming in at number three, we have Jamar Chase. Nick, what's your opinion on this?
No. So right? Again, I think it's the same thing. I think it's Joe Burrow too high on the QB list. Jamar Chase too high on this list. Like, yeah, he had a great rookie year, fantastic rookie year. But that's, I don't know. It could have been lightning in a bottle. Watching him I don't think that he had a lot of double teams. Like I don't think that defenses were really keen on him as much, especially when you factor in that they also had Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, that are also
Zuma.
developing guys that, it was kind of hard, and that offense was just so fluid last year. Joe Mixon, with how great he was, you had so many weapons. You had a Keon on that team. I don't think that he's going to see that same kind of production or the same kind of targets this next year. So I did not have Jamar Chase. He is in my top 10, but he's not 3. Number 3, I have a dude that, since he's been in the freaking league, has looked like one of the best receivers in the league, and that's Justin Jefferson. Minnesota Viking receiver Justin Jefferson. I mean, when you put his name and you say he's been better than Randy Moss his first 2 seasons, oof. I mean, that's, high expectations. That's a good party to be in. So Justin Jefferson was number 3 for me.
I like it. Number 3, was really thinking about who I'd want there. But maybe a little recency bias, but Tyreek Hill. Man, dude's a cheetah. I mean, we know that what he did with Patrick Mahomes was next to none. And how productive he was there, how fast he is, how well he is to get open, the speed he had when he had the ball, and the vision he had when he had the ball to be elusive as he is. He was at number 3 for me. Interested to see how he does produce with Miami. But I mean, we can't discredit what he's done at all with the Chiefs.
So, I mean, here's an opinion, not an opinion, but so like the chicken and the egg. Who makes a receiver? Does a receiver make a receiver, or does a good quarterback make a receiver, Hunter? Because you had Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, throwing to Tyreek Hill. And watching Tyreek's highlight films. I mean, the guy would stray off from his route to make sure he got somewhere where it's open. But it's also good on the quarterback to make sure that he is always looking. Do you think Tua Tagovailoa is going to do the same thing for Tyreek Hill? The improvising.
Not at all. I mean, I totally get, is it receiver, quarterback? I think it's a combination. I don't think it can be said one way or another. But at the end of the day, receivers make plays on the ball. He's proven that he can make a play on the ball. Do I think he's going to be at Patrick Mahomes level, even though Tyreek's talking him up? I think it's BS. There ain't no way Tua comes out and looks like Patrick the way he has in the past couple seasons. No way. I hope the best for Tyreek. But the dude, at the end of the day, I think in Tyreek's case, he's proven himself with Pat, even though he's been with Patrick, but I think he can prove himself without it because he makes plays. He's super fast. All he's got to do is get the ball in his hand, and he just takes it from there. He doesn't have a lot of drops. And then again, just my biggest factor on Tyreek is just the vision after he catches the ball. He knows to get to the sideline, get up the field. Anything he can do a stop route. I mean, drag routes, anything he can get open, and that's what I think makes him. Nick? What's your view on that? If it's receiver, or if it's the quarterback?
Well, so in the case of Tyreek Hill specifically, you already said it. I mean, it doesn't have to be a 50-yard throw. You throw the ball 2 yards, and he's going to take it to the house. I mean, he's got that next level speed. I don't have him as high. He's in my top 10, but it's in the Tyreek scenario. You can throw a 50-yard ball. You can throw a 2-yard ball. He has the potential to take to the house on both. So that's what it is about him with his vision and that speed. I mean, that natural born speed.
Exactly. I mean, God forbid you don't take the right pursuit angle. And even if you do, he might outrun that. I mean, that's
still got to catch up.
I mean,
yeah,
you still got to catch him. Coming in at number 4, we have Justin Jefferson. Nick, thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I had him just one above there. Who was number 3 on the actual list again?
Number 3 was Jamar Chase.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's why Justin there. And then number 4, I have Stephon Diggs there. Also, I mean, just his ability to go up and get the football in the end zone is within top 5 range. That alone puts me there. His red zone threat is kind of insane. It's almost like Gronkish. I know he's not quite that big, but I mean, his ability to go up and out rebound in the red zone is phenomenal. I think he makes plays after the catch as well, and he's just smart. I mean, he knows how to get inside of the head of the guy that's across from him. So really, really big Stephon guy as well. So I've got him 4. And man, I mean, Stephon, if for any reason you were watching this, please come to the Cowboys. Like, yeah, we know you'd love to play with Trayvon.
I like it. 4, I'm just going to bounce off what Nick said last time. Justin Jefferson being already compared to Randy Moss. I mean, he's already called out that he wants to be the best in the league this next year. So I expect big things from him. He's very young and he's already proven to be a force within this game. And numbers don't lie. The dude's producing with I'll say bus driver quarterback behind there. So to say the least.
Yeah.
But still continues to produce just like Tyreek. The vision downfield is next level, and it helps that I think he's 6'4", 6'6", something like that, and he can get up and get the ball just even better than Tyreek could. So,
All right, coming in at number 5. Let's see. All right, I mean, we've already spoken about him already. Tyreek Hill. Hunter, I mean, obviously you had him in at number 3.
correct. Had
How
him
do
at
you feel?
3.
What do you feel about your number 5?
See, I was a toss up in a few people here. My next couple are very, very fluid. This whole list, and Nick and I will have a lot of different ones, but like we said, we could put 20, 25 people up in this list and be very, very different or the same. My number 5 is Keenan Allen. Let's preface this, the healthy Keenan Allen, healthy.
Okay.
Dude can ball out. He can get up and get balls like no one else could. Just like and again, this may be a super opinion, not necessarily dogmatic, but I see him on the lines of Calvin Johnson getting up and getting the ball. He gets open. He understands every quarterback I've seen him with, from Phillip Rivers to now Justin Herbert, understands where the quarterback's going to be when the quarterback's in trouble. Gets in a place where the quarterback can get him the ball down the field when he's in trouble. He'll turn a route to help out the quarterback to make sure that he's open so that the quarterback has an out. And I think that vision itself makes him a spectacular wide receiver in what he does. Doesn't have many drops. Again, let me preface healthy Keenan Allen, because I understand he's injury prone and stuff. But I mean, he's at number 5 for me.
So I will say, when I think Keenan Allen, I don't think of him as a go up and get a guy. I mean, he's got the ability for sure.
Correct.
But for me with Keenan Allen, it's the route running. He is one of the most precise. Him and Devontae Adams are 2 of the best route runners that I've ever seen live, that I've gotten to watch. His footwork is really great. That being said, I don't have him in number 5. He's in the top 10, but not at number 5. Also, just going back to it, this is a guy that plays bigger than he actually is. Justin Jefferson's only 6'1", and we thought he was 6'3".
Oh, wow.
6'4",
Yeah.
so
wow.
that just shows how big he plays.
Yeah.
I mean, granted,
Absolutely.
cornerbacks, the average height of cornerbacks in the league, I think, is like 6 foot or whatever. They're normally a
Correct.
little bit shorter, so he's going up against shorter guys generally. But yeah, I was a little surprised by that too. But number 5, you mentioned him earlier, Hunter. I've got DeAndre Hopkins there. I've got Nook. So he's number 5 for me. Again, like 4 or 5 years ago when he was on the Texans and he had TJ Yates and Brian Hoyer throwing him the ball, and that dude was still putting up 1,200 yard, 80, 90 catch seasons. I mean, geez, that was just really, really crazy to see on that team. Since going to Arizona, he's still a great wide receiver, but just not as dominant as he was. So I have him at number 5. He's not going to play the first few games, but I still think he'll have a pretty productive year. You lose Christian Kirk, so maybe, you get Marquise Brown, you lose Christian Kirk. Does that get him more volume? Possibly.
Correct.
Piggybacking off your stat with the average height of NFL quarterbacks currently is 5'11".
Cornerback.
Cornerbacks.
Okay.
Yeah. Cornerbacks.
Yeah. I mean, they are generally a little shorter. They're supposed to be a little faster.
Mhm.
Like the prototype, you want to be a little faster, a little longer, like their
Mhm.
arms and
Exactly.
stuff like that. Their catch-up speed as well, their ability to close. So yeah, that makes sense.
Correct.
All right, we're on to number 6. Or are we on to 7?
We are
Yeah.
on 6.
Yep.
So coming in at number 6, we've already spoken about him a little bit here. Stephon Diggs is at our number 6 spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm staying decently close to the list. Stephon at 4. He's actually 6 here. Number 6 for me. We spoke about him. This is where I finally have him. This is Tyreek Hill for me. I think this is a little me being a little heightist. Shout out Jenny from the league. I think I'm a little heightist with that one, that I don't have him up there a little bit higher. Because I mean, my prototype receiver, I do have Cooper Kupp number 2, so there's that. But my prototype receiver is a dude that's a little bit lankier than a Tyreek Hill, as great as Tyreek Hill is. It's that rebound ability, that in the red zone jump ability. What puts Tyreek Hill, in a different category is he doesn't need that. He doesn't need that physically. He's just so fast, so quick. I mean, you could throw the ball in the tiniest little space in the end zone, and he'll just, dive in there and catch it. So he's got that. But I've got Tyreek Hill number 6.
Yeah, this is where I did agree with the ESPN chart, but I have someone who I think just these two were very, very fluid for me, and I put a person right above him. I do think Diggs is great, but I have Mike Evans there, solely for the fact of, I mean, these last 2 seasons of Tom Brady, dude, 1,000-yard seasons, dude has massive hands, tall, 6'5", can get up, get the ball again, as far as going to find the open position in the field, is able to do that. I think he has phenomenal route running as well as Nick said with Keenan Allen and Devontae Adams. But I think his route running again is right up there with his. He, even though it may not look like it, watch his foot, watch his steps. He's a little lankier than them, taller than them, but watch his steps when he cuts. Watch him when he's running up the field. And that's a person I felt Tom Brady can throw up the ball. Dude so tall, can go up and get it and do what you need to do. Always a safety net, and very productive in these past few seasons.
Mhm.
And I think will continue to be so.
Absolutely.
6'5", by the way. 6'5", Mike Evans. I think he's probably gonna be the tallest one on this list.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, coming in at number 7, DeAndre Hopkins.
There he is.
Yeah, we both had him a little higher. And maybe again, like Nick said, maybe not so recency, because again, he has dropped off, as we know, but due to legend, produced big numbers in Houston, and again continues to be, I think, a wide receiver 1 as far as Arizona goes. But it does put a little damper on things. He does have 6 game suspension for this, so we'll see how he produces this year. Number 7, I do have Diggs. I was one off. I agree with Nick. He is very productive. He is Josh Allen's man, and is going to be a force to be reckoned with in this league. And numbers again are next to none for what he's done. And I mean, Nick said it all about him. So who do you have at number 7?
I was expecting you to say, Stephon, please come to Dallas. Trayvon would
No,
love to play with you,
no,
but
no,
you didn't
no.
say it. You didn't say it. Number 7, I've got. Here's where I have the overrated Jamar Chase. Man, I don't know. I don't want to. I mean, he's a great receiver. I just, we'll see what happens. A lot of year 2 receivers, it's usually one of 2 ways. Like, so Justin Jefferson was the positive way. He built on the first year. A lot of these second year receivers, they kind of drop off a little bit. So we'll see how he does going into this year. But I've got Jamar Chase at number 7.
Yeah, sophomore slump's definitely a real thing, and also having a full year's worth of footage on you. I mean, that's defenses are going to start scheming for you. If they find you a problem, they're going to find a way to neutralize you. I definitely agree with Nick there. Coming in at number 8, oldie but goodie, Mike Evans. Feels old, but maybe not, because he's only 28. He just feels like he's done a lot in the NFL.
Correct.
So, I mean, personally, I don't have Mike Evans in my top 10. Again, not that he couldn't be in there, because like I said, there were a lot of interchangeables that I could have easily in there. The reason I didn't have Mike Evans in the top 10 is because it feels like out of everyone on this list, he's been the most inconsistent. Like, not not season to season necessarily because the stats
Correct.
still work out, game to game though. Like just
Mhm.
watching this guy,
Yeah.
I mean, it literally happened last year. Like he went through points of the season where he was only getting like 3 catches for 30 yards or what have you, compared to all these other guys that were consistently producing week after week. It just always has felt like Mike Evans, when he's at the top of his game, he's a top 5 type of guy. Like he is a very dominant receiver, but then he just kind of just seems to disappear for a little while. So that's why I don't have Mike Evans even in the top 10. For number 8, I have, and this was also tough to put him here. This was more of just his, not just as a receiver, but his overall body work. I have Deebo Samuel at number 8. A little bit of recency bias there for sure. I think I took more recency bias from receivers than I did QBs. But I have Deebo at number 8. I got to watch him in the playoff game against, I mean, he almost single-handedly won that game for them against the Cowboys in that first round, with just the way they were able to utilize him. Again, he benefits from the Kyle Shanahan offensive system. But yeah, I mean, he was so great last year. His versatility is just, he's like Cordero Patterson, but like better, like twice as good. So I went Deebo number 8.
That's fair. This guy kind of dropped for me. I know Nick had him early and JJ didn't expect it, but Cooper Cup. I had a little problem with him early on in his career. Again, he came in the league and with Goff and was okay at first. These past 3 years have been phenomenal, getting 1,000-yard seasons, and then 2001 last year. So respect is due for him being in the top 10. I mean, he's gone from 40 catches his first year to last year having 145. I mean, that itself speaks volumes. Having Matt Stafford, of course, helps a ton. But I think he's finally getting recognized for what he is, crisp route runner. That's very, very much important to an offense that Matt Stafford needed this year. So I agree that he should be on top 10. He did drop a little bit as far as me of thinking his whole entire career. But I do see good things for his future, which is another reason why I have him in the top 10. Because I think he was a little undervalued this year so much that he wasn't double teamed a whole lot till the end of the year, but still continued to produce even when he was. But I think going forward, teams are going to realize, hey, this guy's a real deal. He's not some lanky kid, or some short little kid that, that doesn't catch the ball much. He catches everything. He'll fight for every yard he can, and just be great for Matt Stafford in the future.
Sounds like a little bit of Hydeism from Hunter on that one, man.
Yeah,
that's right.
Most definitely.
He said got to put some respect, put him in the top 10. I feel like a lot of people feel like that's disrespect,
Yeah, he's got to be in the
not
top
have him
3.
in the top 3.
Yeah, for sure.
I
But
know,
hey,
I know.
that's why it's a dogmatic opinion.
That's right.
I'm not as mad about that one as I am about Josh Allen over Aaron Rodgers. I'll say that too. That one again, yeah. Receivers are, it was much harder to judge the receivers. So yeah, I mean, I get it. It's hard to not say those other dudes you said in any given game would be better than Cooper Cup. All those dudes you listed in front of him, could he have better games
Correct.
than Cooper Cup?
Correct.
Definitely would agree. All right, coming in at number 9, Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
Hunter, what's your thoughts here?
Nick already said it. Deebo, a lot of recency bias. I'm right there on there with the list. He has been very good. Does a lot for a team that doesn't have much. Personally, I think overproduces in what he does. Do I think it's long term? I don't know. That's to be told. The man needs to get paid. That's what he wants. Whether it's with San Francisco or elsewhere is going to be up in the air. But very good in what he does and willing to help out the team wherever necessary. Even though we do see reports here saying that he doesn't want to be such more of a running back, wants to go back to receiver. Personally, if I'm, and again, I'm not Deebo Samuel, Deebo, if you're watching this, just know this is very much opinionated, but stick with what you did this past year. Help out your team any way you can, because we saw a next level of a person that we hadn't seen before. I know you just want to be a receiver, and I think that's great. And I think you're a great receiver as well. But you getting handed off the ball and making the moves that you did, is just, I mean, it was great to watch, and it made the San Francisco 49ers what they are, a fun football team to watch. And it solely was because of Debo, I believe.
Yeah. I will say, yeah, I thought it was a little strange. Like I would think, like if I'm thinking even just from a financial perspective, what's going to get me the most money? Just being a receiver with 75% of the stats that I did doing both, or doing the same thing in, being half receiver, half running back, or what have you, the multi-tool, and produce at the level that he did last year. I would think you'd want to go with that second option because that's what's going to make you more valuable and get you paid. But maybe saying that, maybe felt like he was a little more physically demanding to do both,
Yeah.
or that if he could hone in his like route running, his hands, things like that in the receiving game, maybe that's why. I don't know. Can't read his mind, but yeah, I thought it was a little strange. I had him at 8. Number 9, I do have, in assuming health, Keenan Allen there. I do like Keenan Allen. I think he is one of, if not the best route runner in the NFL. But man, I mean, the reason he's not higher is because we've only seen so much, from him. He's definitely got to be, he's the most injury prone guy on this list by far. My personal list as well as the actual list, with the amount of games that he's missed, but he's got the gunslinger, behind him now. He had one before, and Phillip Rivers. Man, I mean, how fortunate. Phillip Rivers just to go right back in, Justin Herbert, and like two dudes that can just absolutely put it on the ball. So, good for him. I think he'll still produce this year, and I hope he stays healthy. That's my number one. You guys know this. That's my number one sports wish. If we could play every single sport with no injuries, there would never be a GOAT debate. You would know because you watched it, So
Correct.
Keenan Allen, number 9.
All right. Surprising, rounding out the top 10. You feel like you should be higher, maybe you shouldn't, but the drop off year, DK Metcalf. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's who I have, number 10, DK Metcalf. Yeah, that's exactly where I put him, behind these guys. I mean, he gets all the highlights. I think that's why maybe people want to put him a little bit higher because of just the actual physical prowess that he is. And man, I mean, I have a little crush on him. I'm not going to lie, seeing that body out there. But yeah, DK Metcalf, I really love how he's developed. He's already become more than just the abs and stuff like that. Very interested to see what he'll do this year, whether it's Geno or Drew Lock throwing him the ball. We'll be very, very interested to see what he's doing. But man, you want to talk about having the physical tools? Yeah, I mean, that guy's got the physical tools. I mean, all we got to do is we don't have to show a highlight of him catching the ball. Just show the highlight of him chasing down Buda Baker. And I mean, that's just an athlete.
Exactly.
So I've got DK Metcalf, number 10.
Connor?
So Nick's not going to like this one at all. We've had many conversations about this. I like this guy and thinks he needs to be in the top 10. This was very fluid between DK and this guy. DK is part of my honorable mention, one of 3, but I'm putting Terry McLaurin within my top 10. Wrapping
Not
up my
as
top
upset.
10.
I thought you were going to say Deontay Johnson at first.
No.
Still not.
Terry McLaurin, he's been phenomenal since coming into the league. I mean, posting 1,000-yard seasons since being in the league. His not in the way I'm looking at it is DK has had Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Who has Terry McLaurin had? Had Taylor Heineke, had Fitzpatrick,
it's magic,
had had quarterbacks that weren't top tier, I'll put it that way, and still produced at the numbers he did, and continues to. Very, very solid all-around player, and I think will continue to be good in the league. Having, as much as JJ and Nick hate him, having Carson Wentz, I think, is a major improvement to any quarterback he's had, and I think will help him in the coming years be able to work more on developing with a quarterback than what he has of having quarterback jump back and forth. I like Taylor Heineke. I thought he did great when he was in there, but was he a forever starting quarterback? Didn't prove to be. But Carson Wentz, I do like. I think is better than what Fitzpatrick and Heineke were there to offer, and I think will help McLaurin reach hopefully another 1,000-yard season, if not more. Maybe we see more out of him.
Yeah, I mean, the consistency is there for Terry McLaurin. I'll say that. The difference in Terry McLaurin and any of the other guys that I've named is one, star power, and I know that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a better receiver, but two, like the explosive game. Like I don't feel like if I'm watching a game with Terry McLaurin, and maybe it's because of the quarterbacks, I don't feel like, man, there's a small chance that this dude has 200 yards in 3 touchdowns today. Like with these other dudes, I could see it. Like, man, today he might absolutely go off and have a 200-yard, 2-touchdown game. Like Terry McLaurin, 100 yards, 120 yards, a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it, but I don't see that next level like game. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe there is a game that I'm not thinking where he absolutely went off like that, but consistency there, yeah, but I just don't have him on the same tier as these other guys.
Yeah, and he has a 65% catch percentage. Last year 222 or overall 222 receptions. I mean, I just like him, like you're talking about, consistency, and he continues to prove it over and over and over. And I think we'll continue to do that because I mean, he didn't take a step back any years he's been here. He's constantly gotten better. But he is right there with DK Metcalf as far as stats. They're literally, I'm looking at him right now, like 1 or 2 10 yards off of receiving yards from each other. Touchdowns, DK has more, but again, I credit that to Russell Wilson, not necessarily. DK is great, don't get me wrong, but I credit that more to Russell Wilson of him having more touchdown passes than McLaurin does.
ESPN's next 3 honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I'll let y'all know what those honorable mentions are, and y'all can tell me what y'all think.
Okay.
We got Keenan Allen. Obviously, y'all ranked him a little bit higher. We got AJ Brown, and we got Terry McLaurin. So obviously, Hunter, he rounded out your top 10. Chris Godwin and Michael Thomas is what we've got for their top.
Did CD make the honorable mention?
Yep, he sure did. A little further down, CD Lamb.
Yeah. Of course, shout out to the guys and Cowboys. CD Lamb. There you go.
I knew he was in there.
That's right. I guess I'll. How many you got? How many honorable mentions you got?
I'm just gonna do one.
Okay. I guess I'll do 2. Of course,
I'll do 2.
Or I'll do 3 then. I'm
I'm
just kidding. DK and Jamar, top. I think could have flashed in there at all. This is going to be more biased because Steelers. And I don't care what anybody says, dogmatic opinion. Deontay Johnson, I believe, is honorable mention. His numbers are there. Stats prove it. Do I think he's top 10? No. But is he honorable mention? Yes, I 100% believe that. Stats prove it. We can talk. I could talk all day about that. Been very productive with an old quarterback. Yes, he had that major season where he dropped freaking every other damn ball, and I hated it. But has been consistent throughout his career of catches, doing stuff without after the ball, and then this past year of just being phenomenal. So I do give him honorable mention. No, he's not top 10, Nick. I know you're going to crap on me for that, but I do believe he does deserve an honorable mention with those of what ESPN said.
Yeah. How much better was he last year? Like, I still feel like he had drops last year. It was hard to get worse. 13 dropped passes. Am I saying that correctly? Or was that 2020? That might have been in 2020.
So let's see.
I'll go over some stats while they're looking that up. First year, 59 receptions. Second year, 88. Last year, 107. Consistently got better on yardage, 680, 923, 1161.
I'm talking drops.
1161 last year. 8 TDs last year.
But these other guys did that too. I'm talking about the drop.
I agree. JJ, you got how many career drops? He had 13 drop passes in 2020.
Yeah.
Cutting the number down to 5.
5 last year.
That's
really good improvement.
Yeah.
Really good improvement.
And had 25 more times thrown to him than in 2020, and only had 5 drops. So very much better.
Yeah. I mean, again, Deontay Johnson, I wouldn't put him in top 10, top 15, probably not even top 20. But I mean, I think he's still a good receiver. My honorable mentions, I'll play the homer card as well. This is the one I didn't write down, so I only had the one, but I'll say his name first, CD Lamb. I'm really surprised. Can we talk about the fact that Amari Cooper wasn't even on the top 10 or honorable mentions? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
that crazy?
I think it's really because of the jumping around factor. I believe, and
Yeah,
then, little inconsistency when he jumped around. He like, I felt like it, like when he first jumped
man,
around
he's super
and
consistent
then
on the
he had a
Cowboys.
year under him, he did a lot better. You know what I mean?
Well, he came in. Do you not remember the season he came in on the Cowboys? He was the savior that season. Like he came in immediately, made an impact. He was
Yeah,
by far the best receiver on the team and one of the best receivers in the NFC at that point. Like as soon as he joined, it's just
yeah,
I think what you're missing is like he hasn't played. He's missed quite a few games, and what he does is he'll go and play the game. He'll only play half the snaps though. So even while he's in the
correct.
game, he's still hurt, and so he just doesn't play as many
Mhm.
plays. But man, I mean, when that dude's out there, yeah, I mean, I'd definitely put him in the top 10 again,
Yes.
interchangeable with some of these other ones. But I found
So
And
that
he gets
strange that Amari
mad.
went on there, but I'm gonna go CD. My second one, my second honorable mention, you had him in your top 10. It was Mike Evans, and that was again, I already talked about it. It was kind of the inconsistency for him that left him off the top 10 for
Mhm.
me.
Yeah, real quick, also that list said Michael Thomas. I don't know how, I mean,
An honorable
yes, we can
mention.
put him in honorable, but
Same as
how can we do
Deshaun.
that when the dude hadn't
Yeah,
played? Again, has had a great year when he was Drew Brees, but like we talked about with Deshaun, how can you mention a guy who
yeah,
hadn't played and
yeah.
continues not to play? Hopefully we see him this year. Hopefully he changes all our minds, thoughts, doubts, everything. But I don't even think you can put him as honorable mention because he hadn't played.
Yeah, I agree.
would definitely agree. All right, is that it for honorable mentions for y'all?
That's all I got.
Got anybody else over there that you could think of?
Anyone we missed, JJ? I mean, are we sleeping on anyone else that you can think of?
I
No, I
know.
mean I'm looking at Amari Cooper's stats right now. I mean, probably the reason why he didn't even make honorable mentions, 68 receptions, 865 yards, 8 touchdowns.
How many games is that?
That is, it doesn't say.
Okay.
Why is that yeah, it doesn't say right off the jump.
13
Here.
games, right? 13, 14. I mean, I think because again, he played a lot of the games, but just played the games hurt and missed some of the plays. I mean, literally he caught, if you remember the Minnesota game, he caught the game-winning touchdown. They were literally showing him on the sideline. He went
15.
one play, went to the sideline, was like stretching out his hammy because it was literally
Mhm.
cramping right there. Went and did a play, back to the sideline, kept stretching out his hammy, and then goes in and catches a
Mhm.
game-winning touchdown. I mean, the dude
Yeah.
played hurt. But yeah, that
He,
makes sense.
he was
I got 4
15.
for you. Go ahead.
I
15
heard you,
games.
JJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's also kind of deceiving. That means he missed 2 full games, but
Right.
that doesn't factor in the games that he started and played,
Absolutely.
but then didn't play 75% of it.
I definitely agree.
I pulled up a list on CBS and here's 4 people we didn't even think about. We got DJ Moore, Hunter Renfro, Adam Thielen, and one guy I'm surprised we didn't think of, but I guess this is more recency that he hadn't done good. Odell.
No.
Yeah.
They,
None of those guys they don't make honorable
I-
mention or the top 10.
I would
those guys
agree.
for me. But
I would
those
agree
are the
with
guys that we said at the beginning of this. Those are the guys that you give me 20 to 25 guys to choose from.
Correct.
Man, a lot
Sure.
of those could be interchangeable with each other.
Mhm.
But yeah, none of those dudes right off the top of my head replace any of these guys.
No, I agree 100%.
well, all right. That wraps up Dogmatic Opinions episode 6 today. Continue to listen in, subscribe, and drop a like, and continue to hear what other crazy opinions or dogmatic opinions we might have. All right. Take care.